The wind howled through the narrow streets of Portland, Maine, rattling the frosted panes of my tiny apartment as I, Leela Harper, packed the last of my handcrafted ceramic mugs into a wicker basket. It was November 15, 2025, my 29th birthday, and I'd spent weeks preparing gifts for my family's Thanksgiving gathering. A set of glazed bowls for my mother, a sculpted vase for my father, and a delicate teapot for my younger brother Owen, who'd always admired my pottery. The phone buzzed at 4:30 p.m., my mother's name lighting up the screen. I answered, clay-stained hands fumbling, expecting her usual ramble about the turkey or guest list. Instead, her voice was clipped, mechanical. "Leela, we've decided it's best if you skip Thanksgiving this year." A crash echoed in the background. Owen's laughter, bright and dismissive. "No offense, Lil, but it's just smoother without you around. You get it, right?" Dad's voice rumbled faintly, a vague murmur of agreement. Mom pressed on. "It's not personal, dear. We're keeping it small and stress-free." Stress-free? Like I was a burden, not a daughter, I thought, my grip tightening on the counter, the basket's handle creaking under pressure. "Why?" I whispered, my voice trembling. A pause, then Mom said, "We'll talk after the holidays," and hung up. I stood there, the phone still warm against my ear, the unwrapped gifts taunting me on the table, the vase inscribed "For Dad," my steady hand, now a cruel irony. No tears came, just a hollow void, as if the wind outside had stolen the air from my lungs. I shoved the basket into a cupboard next to unused ribbons and wrapping paper, burying the evidence of my exclusion. The question wasn't why they'd done it, but what they'd decided about me long before that call. I grew up in a cozy Cape Cod-style house in Bangor, Maine, where the sea breeze mingled with the scent of my mother's lavender candles. Mom, Evelyn, ran a quaint seaside cafe, while Dad, Thomas, taught marine biology at the community college. Owen, 2 years younger, was the golden child. Charismatic, athletic, always the center of attention with his surfing trophies and easy grin. I was Leela, the quiet one who molded clay into art, organized the kitchen, and dreamed of studying ceramics at RSID. The imbalance started early. Owen's C in algebra earned a pizza party. My A in art history got a "good job, keep going." When he dented Dad's boat, they chuckled about his adventurous spirit. When I won a regional pottery award, Mom said, "That's nice, Leela, but don't neglect your chores." I left for community college at 18, majoring in fine arts, funding it with scholarships and waitressing gigs. Owen stayed home, dabbling in odd jobs, barista, lifeguard, now a social media influencer with a fledgling brand. I never resented his spotlight. I drove home for his 21st birthday, baked his cake, paid for a photographer when Mom forgot. I sent Dad nautical maps, helped Mom with cafe bookkeeping during storms, stayed up late editing Owen's Instagram captions. But their holiday cards read, "Owen's shining bright. Leela's busy in Portland." Last spring, Owen called, panicked about a failed influencer collab. I wired him $1,500, no questions, and he called me his rock. Then on my birthday, he laughed and said, "Smoother without you around." A week later, I scrolled Instagram, seeking distraction, and stumbled on their Thanksgiving post. The familiar oak table, Mom's cranberry wreath, Dad's plaid napkins, except I wasn't there. In my place stood Tara Miles, a local yoga instructor with a perfect smile and a beachfront condo. She posed with Owen, arms linked, Mom beaming beside them. The caption read, "Grateful for our chosen family this year." More photos followed, Tara carving the turkey, toasting with Dad, hugging Owen by the fire. My spot wasn't just vacant, it was replaced, polished and flaunted. I checked our family group chat. Gone, not muted, erased. Old photos on Mom's profile, my 25th birthday, Dad's 60th, still existed, but I wasn't tagged, as if I'd been a ghost in my own memories. I called Aunt Marjorie, Dad's sister, who'd always praised my pottery. Her voice faltered. "Lila, honey, I thought you were on a work trip. That's what Evelyn said." I didn't argue. The truth weighed heavier than her excuse. I hung up, staring at the empty wall where our last family photo had hung. Me, Owen, and Dad at the beach, now removed days ago. My instincts sensing the rift before my mind caught up. I didn't post, didn't text, didn't barge in to demand answers. Friends invited me to their Thanksgivings. I declined with a forced smile. My coworker Jake offered to crash their dinner with me, pie in hand, to shake things up. I laughed, but said no drama needed. I packed away the holiday decor, fairy lights, a clay pumpkin I'd shaped at 15, handling each piece like a fragile memory. The gifts stayed hidden. On Thanksgiving, I made a solitary bowl of oatmeal with maple syrup, sat by my window and watched snow dust the streets. No music, no calls, just the radiator's hum and my steady breathing, a defiance in silence. In mid-December, a letter arrived, not from Bangor, but from Burlington, Vermont. A thick ivory envelope bore the seal of Grayson and Hart, attorneys at law. Expecting junk mail, I opened it with hesitation. "Dear Miss Lila Harper, as executor of the estate of Eleanor Harper, your presence is requested regarding inheritance matters." Grandma Eleanor? My mother's mother, who I thought had passed away 5 years ago. I called the number, hands trembling. "Miss Harper," said a crisp voice, attorney Laura Grayson. "Eleanor passed on November 1st, 2025. I'm sorry you weren't informed." My legs buckled. "This year?" I stammered. "My family said—" Laura's tone softened. "Come to Burlington. There's more to discuss." 2 days later, I sat in her sleek office overlooking Lake Champlain's icy shores. She handed me a death certificate, Eleanor Harper, November 1st, 2025, and an obituary from the Burlington Free Press, listing Mom, Dad, Owen, but omitting me. "Why wasn't I told?" I asked, voice breaking. Laura slid a will across the desk. "Lila insisted you be contacted directly. She suspected your family might exclude you." The will left me everything: her Burlington brownstone, a $5.5 million investment portfolio, her pottery collection, and a studio filled with her unfinished works. Owen received $15,000, my parents a set of silverware. A USB drive held a video dated 2024. Eleanor appeared, frail but resolute, her blue eyes piercing the camera. "Lila, my clay heart," she began, her voice warm yet firm. "If you're watching, I'm gone, and your family likely kept it from you. I was your pride, your hands shaping beauty, your quiet strength. Your parents leaned on me for Owen's ventures, took loans against my home without consent. I forgave, but I protected you. This is yours. Build something lasting." A second video showed bank records, loan agreements, her voice steady. "They used my trust. Lila never did. She earned her way." I sat stunned. They hadn't just excluded me from Thanksgiving, they'd hidden her death, her funeral, her love. Laura touched my arm. "Eleanor chose you because she saw your worth." That was the deepest cut. Not the money, but the betrayal, deliberate and layered. I arranged to meet them at a Bangor cafe, neutral ground, not for closure, but to witness their reckoning. I arrived early, choosing a corner booth, snow falling outside. Mom looked brittle, her scarf knotted tight. Dad's shoulders sagged, glasses fogged. Owen strutted in, new jacket gleaming, his smirk fading when he met my gaze. They started with pleasantries, then Mom pivoted. "Lila, there's been a misunderstanding about Grandma's estate. She wasn't in her right mind." Owen chimed in, "She always favored me. That will's a mistake." Dad murmured, "We could split it fairly, keep the house and the family." I leaned forward, voice low.
Eleanor was clear. She knew you borrowed against her home, hid her death, erased me from her life. She chose me because I never took what wasn't mine. Mom flinched. Owen's jaw tightened. Dad stared at his coffee. Lila, don't be harsh, Mom said. I stood. Harsh was letting me think she'd been gone 5 years. Harsh was Thanksgiving without me. Owen snapped. You're not family if you do this. I met his eyes. You decided that when you laughed on my birthday. I walked out, their protests fading. Texts followed. Dad's, we're still family. Mom's, you're hurting us. I deleted them. The anger dissolved into clarity, like mist lifting from the coast. I sold Eleanor's investments, kept the brownstone, and moved to Burlington. The house smelled of her clay dust, old roses, and possibility. I turned her studio into Harper Clayworks, my pottery business. My first commission was a mural for a local library, the second, a set of bowls for a women's co-op. I hired Jake as my assistant, his dry humor a steady anchor. At night, I shaped Eleanor's unfinished pots, her voice in my mind. Build, Lila. This Thanksgiving, I hosted in my brownstone, not in Bangor, but a new home. Jake brought cornbread, neighbor Sam brought seafood stew. Friends filled the table with laughter and eclectic dishes. No turkey, just candles and a jazz record spinning. I set Eleanor's photo on the mantle, us at her wheel, both grinning, no one else in frame. Owen emailed, demanding his share. I forwarded it to Laura. Mom sent a card. I left it sealed. Dad called, left no message. I didn't need their validation. Harper Clayworks grew. 10 clients, then 20, a city grant for a public art installation. The brownstone's door now bore a brass plaque, Lila Harper, Potter. Eleanor's gift wasn't just wealth. It was proof I'd always been enough. They thought they'd erased me, but I crafted a new legacy they'd never touch. If you've been quietly replaced, drop one word below.